morning and welcome to June 18th Commissioners Meeting in Upton. Upton, thank you for having us, and we'll get started with the invocation.
Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning as a Board of Commissioners asking for your guidance and direction in decisions that we make. We know that your morals and your structures are pure. Help us to adhere to those. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Walter, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
I need to add, Weston County Public Health sent me a cash handling policy that they need to have signed by the chairman, so I need to add that to the consent agenda. It's a cash handling policy, so they have cash there, and this is, like, 2 people have to sign off on it at the end of the night. It's just an actual policy that they have to have in place.
Any other additions or changes? All right, can we get a motion on that?
Move to approve agenda as amended.
Second.
I got a motion properly seconded to keep the agenda as it is. We'll move on to consent, but with the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion passes. The consent agenda, do we need to pull anything from the consent agenda? We did add the cash policy per the clerk's request.
And handed around.
What's that?
Right, handed around quick.
Yeah.
I move to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion that's been properly seconded to approve the consent agenda with the addition of the cash policy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Okay.
Garrett, thank you.
Bye, Walter.
Pass this. Start over here. Maybe this one.
Everybody else, there's a lot there.
It's nice.
I'll waste my time on it.
Really good. We'll go this way on that stuff. Sorry.
We should have sat in a straight line.
Yeah.
Go on. So they're using the credit card for job advertising?
I guess, I have no idea. That's what it says.
Mine, like outside the paper?
Yeah, I think it's on the bigger,
One.
Oh,
on this, like the law
This is
enforcement.
period 11. This is
Okay,
period
that's, I was
11.
gonna say, why would we be doing?
You'd know,
What's that?
advertising for the, law enforcement.
It's Jenkins that,
Yes, what it is it's advertising through, paper organization, also, they do social media,
so it's not local, that's what
it's not local.
It's probably like through Casper or somewhere.
I believe it's down in, it's either Cheyenne or Laramie or something, but they hit a wide
The Wyoming
range
Council.
of other states and everything else.
It's probably like a law enforcement place or something. I will.
I was waiting till you
No, but no.
You're right, Nate, we should have gotten line.
Well, yeah, it's okay. I'll fix it alone. When I get back. It probably says on it. It says right here, amplified digital for the purpose of the total amount for the advertising campaign is passed.
$1,000.
This campaign is crucial for attracting qualified candidates to fill our current vacancies. And then it's got this.
I just don't know. I've never seen those before.
Including the newspapers in Casper, Boys, Butte, Helena, Missoula, and Rapid City.
I was reading this and it's over Parks Day.
Oh my gosh.
So is that, and I know we approved it already, but.
All highlighted, and have like a sensitive. I'll just have to sign that signature page and then it's I'll prove it for him.
5 AM this morning, I couldn't sleep.
You were approving it.
Yeah.
Good job. Those are all moved on.
I just waited until everybody's on before I did it.
Isn't it amazing you can get $6 million for a bridge?
It's unreal.
A bridge for Halbert. Believe it when I see it.
Just check them.
Yeah. What if I pop the face off?
Before I leave, I'll make sure we sit down and make sure we double check. We're done. Yeah, take those white. This one.
filter just for you. Oh, that one. might
Yes,
be-
no, it's.
Those two be Garrett's signature. You could bring that for me.
Hmm?
You could bring that for me.
Mm-mm. It's too cold. Actually, that's a good time to bring it.
I think that's everything in the training that we had there. Moving on to public comment. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment? All right, Francine, you're up.
Okay.
Fairground budget adjustment.
Thank you.
Okay, would like to have a budget adjustment of $5,000 going into utilities if I could. The reason being is that, that would leave us $376.76 in that account, just for, and it'd leave 2,300 in repairs and maintenance because we have, the Kaiser needs some welding done on it and some new teeth to do the indoor arena. I mean, it's about ready to fall apart, is what it's doing. We need a outdoor, a hydrant at the outdoor stalls because it doesn't work. Because it's, I'm not sure. And filters for the event center, which is, because we used the last one about 3 months ago, and so they need to be, according to everybody, they like to have them changed every 3 months.
The inline water filter system, is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about furnace.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then, we just found out that the microphones in the event center are broke and obsolete. And I was wondering if we could use some of the money that's left over in, repairs and maintenance to buy new ones. And that would be about $329. And the Kaiser, I put down 500, the hydrant's gonna cost 120. The furnace filter's 540, and that would last them for a year. So I'm looking at $1,400.89, give or take a little bit. And we could get that done probably before the end of the month. If there's,
So are you asking to have it moved out of salaries or
yes,
something?
yes.
When governments pay us to get the word out, governments pay us, but we actually work for the public. And so it's a tough spot we're in because we have to piss off our own clients, basically. The people who sign the checks we get in fights with because we're fighting for the public. And I don't know. All I can do is say that we just got to keep doing what we do and hope that governments, especially in election year, governments need to trust the professionals, and we are the professionals in Weston County, to get their message out.
Exactly. I can't think of anybody else that does a better job. We put a lot of time and effort into getting all of the product out there and making sure that we reach people in as many avenues as possible. I don't think people understand how much time and effort that we put into those things. And it's most definitely more time and effort than we get compensated for.
So are you asking to have it moved out of salaries or
Yes,
something?
yes. as possible.
I know we were doing some overhauling of bleachers and whatnot. Is the welding that needs to be done on the Kaiser, is that gonna be in-house or do we need to hire?
Billy's gonna do that.
Okay.
And the $500 is for like the teeth, and, we're gonna try and get the tire piece going flat. We're gonna, see what's, Billy's gonna get some green goop and see if that'll fix it, and, you know, little piddly things that need to be fixed on it. I could keep giving you a list of stuff that needs to be fixed, but this is just the immediate stuff that needs to be fixed until next budget year, so.
What's the pleasure of the board?
Susie, do you know what the microphone situation's gonna run you?
That's crazy.
Or, I'm sorry.
It's okay. we call each other's names all the time.
I'm off my game anyway.
Okay, what was your question again?
The microphone problem, I was there last night and she was having trouble with them, I think, for the banquet deal for the kids.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what that's gonna cost or any idea?
I talked to Justin Mills about it because he does most of the electronics. He has done the electronics at the fairgrounds in the past. I talked to him this morning. The two microphones that belong in there, the heads are off. I mean, he said that it would be cheaper to get new ones than try to fix the old ones.
But no idea, like if we were to add another $500 with that.
It's $329 plus tax, because what Justin does is he gets his stuff off of Amazon,
Okay.
and he's willing to purchase them or send me the link so I can purchase them and then send you guys an invoice.
So do you, I mean, in the ask, or do you want $5,400 instead of the $5,000 to help you get those fixed? Before going into the next fiscal
Well,
year?
see, admins, by the time, all the bills that you guys see on the list there, we will have $677.31 left in that after the bills for this month. And give or take $10, $15, you know.
And what was the 1487 that you were asking for?
That's the, what it would cost to get all that stuff fixed if I asked you.
Oh, okay.
And that would come out of the repairs and maintenance that's left over. The $2,300 that
So you're asking for 5,000, but
Yes.
to do the repairs, you need 1487, correct?
Yes, but
So
if you put the, sorry to
No,
interrupt you.
that's fine.
If you put the $5,000 in utilities,
Mhm.
that would cover the minus balance plus this month's bill.
Right, and then what I'm saying is, I'm looking for a total, so right now you're at a total of 6487, which would include the utilities and your repairs, correct?
Yes, but we still have, after the repairs and maintenance come out of the budget, there's $2,300 left in there. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I thought the $1,400 could come out of that,
I see, okay.
is what I was.
I'm just trying to put it on the
I'm sorry, I don't explain myself.
No, you're fine, I was looking for a total, and
Okay.
that, out of those two together, that's 6487.
We don't,
But yeah,
we
you've
don't
got
need,
some of that, yeah.
it'd be, I'm just asking for the 5,000.
What's the pleasure of the board?
I move that we take 5,000 out of general fairground salaries and move that into general fairgrounds utility line item.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
So,
I have a motion that's been properly seconded, any discussion? No? All those in favor of moving from salary to utilities, $5,000 for the fairgrounds, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passed.
Thank you, and I'm gonna put it out there again, I really do, really would like you guys to consider, possibly giving the control of the money back to the park board. We gotta start trusting each other. Thanks.
Thanks, Brent, for coming in.
Yep, I'm gonna go to work
We
now.
move on to the attorney's budget adjustment, and, do you wanna explain that, Becky, or do you want me, from what I read from the email?
Normally when a grant works and it's a reimbursement, they get permission before the money is spent, and what it looks like is these are fidget spinners for the kids, and they, when they went to get reimbursed for it, the grant didn't allow for it, so the county's already paid for it. So they have to go back and adjust the line item to one of the attorney line items, and we can't do an adjustment until you guys approve to go back and adjust it, because you guys have already approved for it to come out of that grant line item. And before we're gonna do an adjustment, you guys have to approve for that to be adjusted. So, I don't know, they're gonna have to fix that, because if it's spent out of a grant and it's not pre-approved, then the county's now out those funds.
No, what was the amount? It's like.
It was just a small amount, but had it been something like $20,000.
Right.
And they didn't get pre-approval, then the county's out that $20,000. And normally, like when public health does that, they get pre-approval before.
So we're really at no choice but to take care of it.
Well, we have to,
Right,
because it has to be adjusted in that line item.
And it's $24.99.
Yeah, it's a little amount now, but
I understand what you're saying.
You know, maybe this might be a good eye opener. They need some of the stuff, they need to make sure it's approved before. I mean, this is less than $25 amount, which is kind of nice. It's such a small amount instead of a big amount. So maybe they need to look into their spending policies and make sure it's on the grants, it is for sure approved before.
this might be a time where we figure out a document that says any reimbursement grant, everything has to be pre-approved, and I don't know how you would word that, or if it's not approved, because it's not like that person can personally pay for it themselves. I mean, the county's gonna be on the hook for it,
Right.
but there's gotta be a process set up that you get pre-approval first, and it's signed by the state, or whoever the grant is through,
Well,
so that
correct
we
me
know it's going to be paid before.
if I'm wrong though, like with the water district, they gave us a list of requirements of what was going to be approved, so they should, with that grant, should have a list of what is acceptable and what isn't.
Well, no, because it's like, they purchase stuff that they need as they go along, but they still should have prior approval to know that what we're spending the county's money on up front is gonna be reimbursed once they submit for reimbursement.
Well, we're fortunate that it was go ahead.
Maybe we could ask the attorney to draw up an agreement, like an MOU or something between their office and us, kind of just putting out there a process that they should go through. Maybe we should put it back on them to do this.
Yeah, because we have 30 or 40 grants out there, and all of our grants are reimbursement grants, and we have Tim trying to get more grants.
It would be a good idea probably to do it on all grants, so perhaps we could have Michael work on an agreement that people could sign that goes with their grants.
Because, yeah,
And on that line, my weird, it's just for all agencies, you know, whether it's your districts or, so, but just make them aware that this is, you know, like you said, an MOU or something that has, on paperwork that everybody is, make sure their grants are reimbursable before they spend it.
'cause, I mean, this is small, but it could have been a big amount.
I agree.
So you, I'd make the motion to, or you have the numbers where you move the money from.
I think Brooke gave us what
Brooke.
line item they wanted, so I'll look when I get back
Okay.
and just move it from that grant to the county attorney's line item.
Yes. I'd make that in motion. Get that taken care of.
So I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion that's been properly seconded, any discussion?
Just to clarify the amount, I've got wrote down as $24.99, is that?
I'm pretty sure that's what she said, it was really small.
And we'll get with the attorney to make sure, maybe he does, like you guys suggested, an MOU with a process so that they can kind of check themselves on their grants.
We'll just send it out to all
Yep.
department heads and all, special districts.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes. Sheriff's budget adjustment. Come on. Morning.
All right, guys. Good. So, since earlier, so we are short some uncovered portions of our budget. We had a very large vehicle repair for $11,913.06. That was when that repair started. That started in last year's budget. We did have where we that. With that cost, it put our vehicle maintenance is in the hole. Is down $5,483 currently right now. With that, it put us lower down. It was an engine replacement and a Tahoe that we needed. Like I said, if it wasn't for that, in the grand scheme of everything, we would have enough to cover the whole budget portion of it, throughout the budget. But with that, we don't have enough to make it through to the next budget cycle. I believe we are $8,393.43 short on the sheriff's office side.
Why was the repair so long? It was in the last year.
It wasn't last year, so it was an engine replacement. It took them a long time to secure the engine, the block, and get it sent to them and get it replaced. Then there was a roll main seal or something from the factory, so it was leaking oil, and then it took a long time for them to get them to grant the warranty work done on that. So I think they were backed up in their shop, and then also backed up in the portion of getting the materials and everything sent to us. So it took an extremely long time that was out of, sounds like most everyone's control on that portion of it, because when they did get it in, they got it out pretty quick, but then we had that warranty issue that they had in that portion of it.
And that Tahoe is in our fleet now.
It is, it's a 2015 Tahoe. Our other 21 Tahoe is in the shop also. And in Spearfish, we seem to be having a problem with vehicles, and I don't know if they're just not building them as good, or they're just not set to withstand the rigors of control work. So that other Tahoe is in Spearfish right now, getting warranty work done to it. So it's camshaft and lifters and stuff, so that's all warranty. Our tow bill isn't warranted on that, because we have to tow it up there. But we need that secondary one so that that unit has that. So that's why we replaced that vehicle instead of took it out of service.
Any other questions for? Good.
We already have the resolution prepared.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to approve resolution 2024-16.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion that's been properly seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you. See you, man.
Oh, no, he's on next.
Oh.
Stand up here.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
For the, resolution 841
Oh.
discussion.
Okay.
Hello again.
Hi.
Hi, welcome back.
It seemed like it was just a moment ago. So, so I believe this one's for the animal control or dogs at large out in the ordinance. Talking to the sheriff and stuff, going over some of this, that ordinance, I believe we were talking about maybe making it a countywide thing. There's a lot of, even putting that ordinance into effect of what currently is, there's a lot of unforeseen or unknown, I think, that we have to address, if that were to, go for it. If you're looking at the sheriff's office enforcing that, it's gonna be very labor intensive. We're gonna have to outfit every patrol vehicle with a animal control box for climate control type thing because of response times. So, a animal could be set out, you pick up a dog, you're gonna have to put it in it could be 25 below zero, you can't throw it in the back foot, so pick up and drive it along with a response to other calls. So with that, you're probably looking around $42,000 to outfit patrol vehicles. There's also, we have to have an exemption on one of the deputies because he's a canine officer, can't have dogs in with another canine, wouldn't work on that portion of it. You could go a civil route where it's not a peace officer. They would work. I would recommend kind of being underneath you guys. You'd have to have set up some form of a licensing set up for people to license their animals. We also don't have any facility to hold animals that you pull, so that you collect. You'd also need an exemption for working animals, because such as your herding animals and dogs. So if they're out with livestock, and then that can become a caveat of people saying they have a border collie that's my livestock protect in their yards or whatever for whatever animals it's running. So there's these things that we have to look at, and then the hearing status, if it's going to go through, or is it going to go through you guys for, or you can set up a magistrate for addressing the citations and all that portion of it. So we don't have any agreements with any current towns, Upton or Newcastle, so to shelter these dogs. We don't have any agreement with the animal shelter to, what also would have to maintain and care for these animals 7 days a week when you take them in there. So somebody is gonna have to go and see and clean the facility and take care of that facility, along with, we would probably have to build a pound basically for the county. And then you'd have to figure out a portion of what you're gonna do after you have those animals. Are they gonna be relinquished to the Humane Society, and are they able to accept those if they have enough room? Because a lot of times they are already full with the city house. So, or are they gonna get euthanized? So those are those things that we have to look at and try and figure out what you're gonna do if that's the portion of it, if we're gonna go in that ordinance thing. So it's very labor intensive. I've talked to the city about their animal control portion of it. It takes a lot of time, and our response times throughout the whole county. So we could be an hour out from any type of animal call. So by the time you get there an hour later, most likely that animal is gone. There is a state statute for dog at large for vicious dogs trying to bite people or go after people or go after livestock. I would recommend us staying with the state statute of animal at large and not kind of go down this. It's going to be a very expensive and expensive process of trying to do a dog ordinance for just out in the county.
That was gonna be my question to you. You know, we're, so much stuff that you guys do is all set by state statutes. You know, cities and towns, they have the ability to make ordinances in their own jurisdiction. Do we even have the right to go out and make an ordinance on something like that?
The commissioners can go through and do ordinances. There is a statute that gives you that authority. So you could do that. I mean, I don't know if that's I mean, there's a lot that you gotta look at.
And that's why, you know, so much stuff is set up in state statutes. It's already guidelined by the state, so.
And it goes through circuit court and, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Outside of incorporated areas, we have that right, but I think you're on something too. Instead of becoming dog catchers, if we have a dog problem, you go after the owner and handle it.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you have that dog, with this dog catcher thing, you need a licensing system put in for the county, and then you're gonna have somebody go through and make sure that animals are being licensed. And I don't think that is the nature that most people that live outside of incorporated areas really would enjoy or want to do. And that's some of the reasons why people live outside of incorporated areas. If it's one area that's having a problem, they might want to look at some form of incorporation and then figuring out how to do their ordinance and then contracting out other portions of that. But that involves a lot of money. No matter what, this whole process involves a lot of money for somebody, and that's not the time of year or season to be looking at spending a lot of money.
And I think to your point, there's a lot of what ifs to this with ranchers and service dogs and the large areas that these dogs are in. I mean, it's going to be a lot of time-consuming use of our law enforcement. You know, I get it if it's a vicious dog, you report it, and you know we have options there. But it seems like this would be a whole lot of but this isn't a this dog is for my service or for my ranch or for cattle or for whatever, and then somebody else may misinterpret that, and we have a big time dismissing it, and maybe not dismissing it, or I don't know. It just seems like a lot of what ifs. Go ahead.
So you're kind of on the fence of whether or not you want to support the resolution?
I'm
joking.
Me personally, I'm not, but
Going back to on the front side, this rooted from like wasn't it like a buffer zone that had to do with surrounding the city limits?
No, it says in the resolution, it says within 3 miles of the unincorporated, let me see.
Everybody was like 3 miles outside
it
of.
says, in the unincorporated area of Weston County within 3 miles of the corporate limits of the city of Newcastle as a public nuisance animal. Basically, they put this resolution out there, but it has no teeth to it because there's nothing that went forward giving the sheriff's department any authority to do anything with it.
No, and I believe it's been brought up and addressed and, quite a few times in previous county attorneys, and I know that, I believe it was, William Curley who said it's not even an enforceable ordinance the way it's written and everything, so I would probably look at.
That's how I see it too. I mean, if we can't enforce that 3 miles, I'm trying to imagine, obviously the resolution was written for a purpose. I'm thinking they had an issue with something that was borderline right on the line somehow, and they tried to kind of gather that up. But at that point, city police or the dog catcher isn't jurisdiction for the 3 miles. That's an interesting buffer there.
It is, and I'm thinking, I don't know if there was a problem with trying to say like county dogs running into the city and trying to achieve that portion of it. But there's no agreements on where these animals get held either. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of issues with that.
I think maybe I have Michael look at this, and if we have to, I mean, somehow resend this resolution and basically however we do it, that it stays back to the state statute on the vicious dog, that can be enforced, but this resolution is just a waste of paper.
I was gonna say, we have no problem with vicious dog, that's a criminal statute, that's a state statute. It works well for dealing with a vicious dog. It doesn't deal with just
Nuisance.
a neighbor's dog running into another neighbor's yard. I mean, unless that dog is going after somebody, that's it. And I think that's the best route to go, because you have all these other caveats that you would have to deal with on this portion of it to establish ownership. And not to sound, not to put it in a bad manner, I mean, because, yeah, if your neighbors come and dogs bother them, I mean, causing problems, but, it's kind of, our law enforcement's time should be spent more towards combating criminal activity than catching a dog, and that's where if you did do that, I recommend you going through with a civil portion of it, because a civilian staff, not a law enforcement sworn peace officer's position, would handle that. But the other problem is that person has to care for those animals 7 days a week that they take, along with having somebody.
It seems this came up because of Osage having a problem. And I think, once again, the problem is they're unincorporated, so it pretty much ties our hands as commissioners to do a lot of things they'd like us to do. And it also puts them in a bad spot where a lot of things like this can't be done in their community. I'm wondering if they could look back, maybe, I know they're kind of looked at as a subdivision, essentially. They, just like the water district and everything, there might be something they can set up, but it still probably wouldn't have teeth. They could talk to Michael about that, but in that way, I think our hands are tied.
Yeah, I mean, well, our hands are tied unless it's a vicious dog. If it's a vicious dog, there is in black and white what our sheriff's department can do. But if it's just a nuisance, that's kind of, talk to your neighbor. And, visit with your neighbor, take care of the problem neighborly.
Unfortunately, a lot of people don't like to speak to their neighbors anymore, so. Or civilly in that manner, speak with their neighbors.
Pleasure of the board.
Like Christy Nolan, the mover.
What's that?
Carol.
I would feel comfortable to have Michael look into this, whatever we need to do to basically remove this resolution off the books. And when it's done, have a note or have it in there specific that they can be delivered, animals can be under our vicious dog state statute. I mean, that would clear it up. It would get this gray area off the book. Our sheriff's department, if it's a vicious dog, they can deal with it. If it's not a vicious dog.
I was gonna say that would be helpful on our portion of it, because people do bring that ordinance up, and all we can do is say, we can only do vicious dog, there's nothing we can.
I agree with Commissioner Wagner. I don't even know if that's enforceable in Osage, really. I mean, what are they gonna do?
Well, if you read this, it's within 3 miles of the city of Newcastle,
Yeah.
not beyond the 3 miles.
Which
I mean,
is, yeah, it's not to deteriorate from Osage, it's just, it's not even really worded the way it should be.
No, that's.
Yeah.
we want to have Michael look into that.
So we'll table it until Michael looks at it, and then we'll see if we can get it removed or rewritten or whatever.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On to old business, new business. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, commissioner comment? Ed, you got anything? Nope. Nate? Gary?
I just want to, on the drive over this morning, all the work that's been done on the trees over there, that's phenomenal. And I'm not for sure who's responsible for that, but there's a lot of work trimming up that makes it look really beautiful out there. They've moved, they started up and moved part of that way.
The honor camp.
Honor camp has, it looks really good.
I just want to say again, thanks to Upton. I appreciate you having us here. We enjoy coming up, so. Gary? All right, if there's nothing else for the board. Appreciate it. Meeting adjourned.
So can you,
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.